Roll. Action. Good day and welcome to a episode of SAKtown Talk here in early May. With us is Isabel Grant from Defenders of Wildlife and Becky Dunn, who's going to be our host today. I'm
Thank you.
your MC. It's kind of like a game show.
You
And
got two hosts today.
yeah, I'll remain behind the curtain off stage.
Yeah, he was tech support. I already managed to lock up the system. So let's start out with what everybody is interested in, the program for reimbursing people for electric fences. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so our electric fence incentive program, it's a reimbursement program designed to improve human bear coexistence on the Kenai Peninsula and in Southeast Alaska by supporting the installation of bear-resistant electric fencing around bear attractants like chicken coops, beehives, gardens, compost, and any other kind of similar items. And so properly installed electric fences are a very effective non-lethal bear deterrent, and we can use these to reduce and prevent human conflict with bears, and that's going to keep bears safe, and it's also going to keep people safe in these kind of communities and in these landscapes that we are sharing with these wild animals.
Cool. That answered one of my questions I've had. I didn't know if it would be, but it does be for bears. I mean, it's for bees, chickens, and gardens, you said?
Yeah, gardens, compost,
Cool.
anything that you have that has attracted bears or you're worried will attract bears, that is something that we would reimburse you for installing an electric fence around. And we don't require that participants have experienced conflict with bears in the past. This is for people looking to reduce any existing conflict that they're experiencing or people who want to get ahead of it and want to prevent any future conflict.
Good. And so tell us about how they would do that.
So the first step is to contact Defenders of Wildlife, and you can reach us at our email, which is alaskadefenders@defenders.org, or you can call our office, which is 907-276-9453. And you're basically going to say, hello, I'm interested in the electric fence program, and I will get back to you and I will help you figure out what materials are going to be appropriate for your specific fence design. I can help you design your fence, send you resources and information about electric fencing to make sure that you're in a good position to be building an effective fence for the purpose of deterring bears, because there are specific guidelines that you'll want to follow when your goal is to prevent bears from getting into an area.
Thank you. And speaking of resources, I do have pamphlets down at the feed store here at Not So Fast Country Store, along with some fencing supplies. But those were provided from when you were in town. And when do you think you will be in town again?
So we don't have any firm date set, but I'm definitely looking to plan another kind of workshop or a night where I can come down, talk about the program, and talk to people about any specific projects that they have in mind and that they are looking for some more guidance on or just want to talk to somebody about. So potentially later this summer is when I'm hoping to come back down to Seward.
I'd like to maybe do that at the same time that somebody is in town to talk about, might even be you guys, the bear resistant garbage cans and how to get them and how to use them. Or there's a group of people that come in and show you how to get your dogs out of traps. That's also a good one too.
I think that would be a great idea and a great collaboration.
Yeah, collaboration. That's the word I was looking for. And also I'm very excited about Seward High School is now going to have a beginning ag class. So get those kids involved somehow.
Yeah, I think that would be great. Maybe we could do some kind of electric fencing setup class because electric fences are also very commonly used in agricultural practices. So I think there's a lot of potential crossover there as well.
Yeah, teenagers like to play with electricity. I remember my ag teacher handing us cattle prods and saying, don't zap each other with this.
Oh, gosh.
I can say that gets your attention.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, getting zapped, not him telling us not to zap each other. Are there any suggestions or comments you'd like to add about electric fences or being bear aware?
I think for electric fences, I've said that they're non-lethal. I think a concern that people have frequently is, are these going to start fires, and are they going to be a serious danger to, children and pets who might come in contact with them? And so to address the fire question, they are considered to be safe in that regard. The way that they work is by pulses of electricity. So this is not something that's going to get really, really hot, like maybe an older kind of design would be. So you're not going to have wires that are getting super hot, and they're not going to kind of spontaneously catch nearby vegetation on fire. So fire risk is not something that we associate with electric fences nowadays, specifically the kind that you'd be buying a low impedance energizer for, which we would use for these kinds of fences. In that same vein, because it's the pulse of electricity, you're not worried about causing any kind of serious damage or long-lasting harm to any like person or child or pet that would touch the electric fence. We always recommend that if you're handling electricity, you are following best practices and you're being safe about that, but there isn't a significant risk to health and safety with these electric fences. I know
Touched on before, yeah. So concern in Seward is snow and water. So with snow, do you have to turn off the bottom strands as the snow gets higher?
Yeah, you will want to turn off the bottom strand so that you don't kind of short out the fence.
Okay. And that is a problem in Seward. I see that fences are high, snow's high, got high enough that dogs were walking out of the fence and llamas. Yeah, so yeah. Going about the neighborhood. Had a horse do that before too. Actually received a call from the pet because where else are you going to find people at 3 in the morning? So bear garbage cans. Do you guys, is your group the one that handles encouraging people to use those, or are there any grants or oh, first of all, the electric fence one, let's talk about the dollar amount. Is it, I'm going to try to do this off the top of my head. Is it $500 to get reimbursed up to?
Yes, that's our maximum
I was right.
reimbursement. Yeah.
Okay.
So we do 50%. And then if you're spending over $1,000, we'll still reimburse you, but the max that you can receive is that 500.
Okay. All right. And I wanted to put in the interview that there is solar panels available for electric fences too, because people are like, what if I don't have power to my area? I also see people put them around tents when they're hiking in the woods or campsites, if they're going to be there all summer or something.
That's another great use. Yeah, there are kind of two options for if you're in an area where you don't have access to electricity. You can do solar power, or you can do like a D-cell battery. Both are good. And in both situations, you're just going to want to make sure that you're monitoring that battery level and making sure you're not dipping too low to where your fence isn't going to be effective anymore.
I just ordered these cool gadgets that you can hook right on your fence so that you can look out your kitchen window and have your cup of coffee and see if the fence is on or not.
Oh, that's
I
great.
forget, it either beeps when your fence goes off or it beeps when your fence is working. I forget. But anyway,
That's
you can
awesome.
find out when you get it, if you have a clear view of it. So that's good, especially. And in Seward area or any area that's populated, you're going to have just as much of a problem with bears, just as much problem with loose dogs as you do bears. So it will help with neighbor and conflicts and bear conflicts. We don't want either. How about moose? Do moose deter from electric fences?
I think the voltage is probably definitely strong enough to deter them. I think if you are also building one that's going to be dual purpose for bears and you're also hoping that it will deter moose, you're probably going to want to make it a little bit higher than you typically would for bears. That isn't necessarily the express purpose of our program, but it is definitely an alternative use for the electric fences.
And because there are baby bears and dogs, I would recommend putting the fence, have it at least 5 strands. I see people try to do it with 1 strand or 2 or 3, and they can go right through it, and then they don't want to get back out because they may have got zapped a little bit getting in there, and they're like, nope, not doing that again.
Yeah, we really strongly recommend that you're using a minimum of 5 wires on your fence, because that is one of the recommendations for building a bear-resistant electric fence.
You said at least 5?
At least 5, yeah. And that's going to provide more points of contact so you don't run into a situation where maybe a bear is able to climb over, get under, or, get its head through the fence without being shocked.
I see. And so you can put it around your compost. I like that. That is not just for poultry. That was one of my big questions. And let me see the garbage cans. Do you have anything in the works or know anybody that is to get grants for the bear proof garbage cans? We had quite a bear year here in Seward.
Yeah, so we have partnered with Resurrection Bay Conservation Alliance in the past to help with a couple of those bear resistant trash can orders. So that's who we've worked with in Seward to kind of make that happen. And so I think that if anyone is interested in being a part of that program, I would reach out to Resurrection Bay and see if they are doing one of those orders again this year. Yeah, I think they
And
are the main.
I'll reach out to them too, so then I'll have the answer.
Mhm.
And the garbage, I forget who I pay my garbage bill to, and they changed their name on my credit card statement, and I thought it was a scam at first, and it's not. But if you call on your garbage bill for the people inside the city or outside the city, if you're paying for the garbage service, they do rent you one. I believe it's not much. We're talking $3 or $4 a month. They may just have a limit to one size and they may be out, but last time I checked, they had enough to, they still did rent out. Because I saw an online post where people were saying that there weren't any available, but when I called them, they said that, yeah, there was. So that's not much, but it is better to own your own, I guess, because then you save that $4 a month, but wouldn't hurt to call them and encourage them to get the smaller ones in too. Because not many people need the giant garbage cans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me ask the man behind the curtain. Wolf, do you have any questions or comments? Okay, he said no, man of many words. He's like literally behind a curtain. So is there any other programs or anything else you want to point out? And where I saw some really cool videos on how to set up electric fences. Can you tell me how to get to those? I think that was on your site.
Yeah, so we have all of our resources on our website. That includes our beginner's guide to electric fencing. It will also include a link to our digital brochure, so you can see our incentive form, and also it'll have our contact info up there. And you can also find an instructional video on how to install an electric fence. And all of that is going to be on our webpage, www.defenders.org/got-bears. And so that's a great informational hub for the videos, for the electric fence guides, and for the brochure.
Cool. Okay, that was pretty quick. Do you have anything to add?
Just a reminder that we do want everyone to reach out to us before they buy anything. So we make sure that right off the bat, you're buying the correct materials and you're buying an energizer that's going to qualify for our program. We require that everyone uses an energizer that produces a minimum of 0.7 joules. So you're going to want to look at the joule output of that energizer, and you're going to want to be looking for ones that say they have an output of at least 0.7. And so just to make sure. Yeah. And so that's why, we want people to be setting themselves up for success. So that's why we ask, before you buy anything, before you get started, just go ahead and send us an email, and we'll get everything squared away.
All right. So I will make sure that I have those in stock. And yeah, electric fences really do deter bears. I've seen to where they put them around a tent and then they moved the electric fence and the bear still walked around that area.
Yeah, they have been super effective. You can definitely find some video online, and also on our Got Bears webpage, the Defenders has been running a similar program in the lower 48 for the past 10 years, and they post kind of annual reports. So there's also a lot of data that you can go and look at, and you can see, how many people they've reimbursed down there, and also how those fences have been performing for everyone, particularly in the Montana area. It's a lot of cattle ranchers. So if you're interested in reading more about the program, or how these fences have worked in other locations in the lower 48, I would definitely recommend checking that out.
There's a lot of information on those sites. You can go through, and a lot of links to other places and other sites. So that's a lot of information out there. And then there's also bear spray.
Yes.
But that's more like not at your house, hopefully. And that would be a heck of a mess to clean up. But I mean, for our trails, speaking of being bear safe.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. You have any more additions, Isabel?
I think I covered it. Yeah. No, thank you for
Okay.
having me on today. This has been great.
And when they come to town, there's like 3 people to ask questions to, and they have demos, and they have this little fake electric fence, and this bear touches. Anyway, it's so when they do come to town, we will run a reminder, several reminders, and if anybody wants to find out when they can just call me or come by the store, and I will put you on a list to call when they're coming to town, because they are going to be back in town probably this summer. Yep.
Yes, that's our goal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And hopefully we can contact Miss Kim and get some of the young ag students involved, get them trained right.
Mhm.
We'll be having livestock. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been amazing. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. So we will air this in the morning, and then we'll also add it down to and we'll have it on our SAKtown YouTube, which is just SAKtown, SAKtown, right? Okay. Boy, he's so talkative today. This is rare.
That's it.
I just don't know what to do.
On behalf of SAKtown Talk and Seward Public Radio, this is Oz, the great and powerful from behind the curtain, and your moderator interview host was Becky Dunn, and with us Isabel Grant from Defenders of Wildlife on bear deterrents.
Yes, specifically electric fences.
Stay tuned for this another episode. It's a SAKtown Talk. You can find us on 91.7 on your radio dial, and also at SAKtown.
And 106.1.
Yes.
106.1. Okay. All right. Thanks, Isabel. We'll sign off and I'll give you a shout.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.